Excellent.
Thank you.
Just right off the top, Dennis, how you feeling?
I feel great. Yeah, I feel good. It's an exciting time of year.
Obviously, a lot of people are, concerned about the Celtics, but also concerned about you and your health. And have you had to change or modify anything you normally do since that point in time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm eating more plants. And not the kind of plants in Walton's garden, by the way. But eating more plants nonetheless. But I think, I have a great bench here too. Like, we have a great staff, and Mike and Austin and Dave, and right on down the list, Remy and Jake, and everybody that's, they're very capable of filling in when I need to step away there for a little while, but I haven't had to add as much work.
Have they, do you have to make any other kind of lifestyle changes, travel?
No. I just need to eat better and exercise more, get skinnier, all those things.
Do you think more of a mentoring, a little bit more of a mentoring role?
I'm sorry.
Do you
I'm
think?
not sure what you mean.
Well, to step back. From
My
time to time.
role's not going to change. Yeah, there's no change.
Is it the type of scare, though, that makes you think about that? About being in such a stressful job and how much impact it has on you?
Yeah, sure. I need to manage all that stuff better.
Danny, when everything did happen, how much did you just feel that support, though, from the Celtics organization and just that family feel?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. First of all, I felt like the Celtics are in great hands, like I said, with all my staff and everybody here. We have great ownership. But yeah, I felt a lot of support from the fans and everybody.
Does that make the transition to modifying things a lot easier for you to do, knowing that even if you take a step back here, things are going to continue to flow as they are?
Yeah, listen, we're all replaceable. We all know that. I tell the players that all the time, but I've been making those changes. I know that our organization is in great hands. With Mike and Austin and Dave, who we have a great chemistry. We've been together for a long time. Those guys are capable of doing everything. Matter of fact, they've organized most of all the draft workouts. We're going to have close to 100 people in before the draft, and they've done a great job organizing all that. Just everything moves right along.
Those first few days, what kind of restrictions were you under? Did they tell you not to watch games on TV?
Yeah, they wanted me to avoid stressful situations, so I recorded the game, but it was like, that's more stressful. And so I watched the second game. The first game I didn't watch, and because I was under more stress then, I think. So I enjoy watching the games, and I just gotta be in a setting where not screaming and yelling, and my veins aren't sticking out all over my neck.
What do they tell you moving forward in terms of? Is there
Nothing much. Nothing. I'm just trying to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
You mentioned earlier about
At least until I'm as old as Sharon.
I'm always going to stay ahead of you on that one.
You mentioned a little bit earlier about you guys want close to 100 folks that you get a chance to look at. Are there any themes that you see kind of encapsulating just the type of guys that you're bringing in, the guys that you're looking at as far as skills you're looking for from them?
Not really. We're bringing in everybody. We're bringing in all shapes and sizes, skills and talents, and experience, and youth, the whole variety of what goes on in the draft. That's why the draft is hard.
When you have picks as closely aligned as yours are, has it been easier to get in the guys that you know that you want because there's such a close proximity with your picks?
Yeah, you know how agents think. There's a short window when you get guys in to do the draft workout. So if an agent sees it, like we couldn't get Robert Williams in last year, for example, because he was projected to be from 10 to 15, and so that's the group that they focused on. This year it's been easier because we have 14 all the way to 51, so we've seen a lot more guys.
When you said you brought up all shapes and sizes, etc., owing to the fact that the way the season ended up and expectations didn't go the way you thought they would go.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what the question is.
Well, are you considering revamping things, or what are you thinking?
Well, we
What's
have
in
4
your
draft
thoughts?
picks,
Yeah.
regardless of how the team went. Excuse me. Yeah, we didn't play as well as we wanted to play during the season. It never came together quite the way we liked it to for any sustained period of time. But I feel like we'll learn from that. I remember in 1983, you're even that old, to remember that we got swept, lost 4 straight to Milwaukee, and came back and won the championship the next year. It's my opinion, and I'm not saying that we want adversity, but it's there whether we want it or not, and it's a tough league. And I think in the exit interviews, our guys did. I thought that they all had good things to say, and I think that that there will be a great learning curve from that experience.
Can you talk about Jason and Jalen and Terry? I mean, what you thought, what your thinking is on their season and where it's going for.
I think that they all had great moments of the season, and I think there's a lot that they still need to get better at.
Yeah.
What was your takeaway? What was your takeaway from your exit interview with
That was a
Kyrie?
little
I know.
race right there.
Shroud battle sometimes.
Man, you like took charge.
What was the exit interview like with Kyrie?
It's good.
I remember a few months ago you talked about you can't do anything until obviously free agency starts. You used the analogy kind of like that's when you can kind of have the wedding, if you will. Is the wedding still on?
I don't know. I mean, there's not much I can say about that, honestly, but there's ongoing conversations. Yeah, we just have to wait and see what happens there.
Okay. But he hasn't given, or his camp hasn't given you an indication that he does not want to come back here.
I have not received that indication, no.
Are you hopeful just to get obviously there's the draft, a lot of potential possibilities in terms of trades and stuff like that may or may not depend on what you guys do. Are you hopeful to get an indication from him, before free agency starts about his future?
Yeah, but I'm not. He can do what he wants. It's his choice to do what he wants. But sure, I'd like to have answers to all your questions right now. That would be nice. Then I could relax even more. But it's a busy time of year, and there's a lot of unanswered questions with free agency and draft and all the players on our roster, all of that.
Without those answers, how do you plot? Like, is there a domino that has to fall first, or how do you?
No, I don't think there necessarily is, Chris. I mean, there's a domino that would fall if it was my world, and wanted to do everything that I wanted, but it doesn't work that way, and so we're just prepared for lots of. And right now, I mean, today, we're preparing for the draft, and we're preparing to make draft picks, and at the same time. This afternoon, we'll probably be looking at possible trades of those draft picks and having conversations with people around the league. So it's all going on right now. There's a lot of discussion. We have a variety of ways of we can make our team different and hopefully better. And we're looking at those options.
Do you think there's anything you can do that would make Kyrie want to come back more, or was there anything expressed in terms of what he might desire to come back here?
I'm sorry, Chris. I
So,
didn't hear the first part of your question.
is there anything you can do roster-wise that would encourage Kyrie to re-sign here?
I don't know the answer to that. Yeah, I don't know that yet.
Danny, when you talk about the preparation that you guys are going through, how unique is it, or has it been, and will it be over the next couple of weeks than it has been in the past with just a lot of questions around the roster? There's only a certain amount of players that for sure are going to be back.
Yeah, I mean, last summer was busy, and we just had Marcus and Aaron really to sort of clean up their, we didn't know if we'd get them back. We wanted them back. Yeah, this year's way more complicated. We always talk about, there's A to Z. Really, there's usually A to G or E. This year, there definitely is A to Z. And like I said, I think we're preparing for that, for any of those options.
Terry was pretty outspoken at the end of the season. Do you see a scenario where he comes back? Is that still?
Sure.
Yeah.
You guys know I'm a big fan of Terry's. I don't always agree with how everybody handles the media, just like they probably don't agree with how I handle the media and things that I say, but we don't always think alike. That's what makes the game fun. But I'm a big fan of Terry's. I think that I think that if Terry was in the right circumstance, in the right role, like I think he'd love playing in Boston, is my opinion. And if not, then I think Terry would let me know that. But Terry and I have a very good relationship, as Terry does with Brad as well.
Have you guys talked with Al about possible restructuring?
That will be discussed. Sure, that's one of the priorities on our list as well.
What was your kind of takeaway? We haven't talked to you since the season ended. Your takeaway about, I guess, first with Kyrie, about how that series against Milwaukee and with him, he put so much kind of on his shoulders leading up to that moment. Obviously, it didn't go as he had hoped.
Right. So, the first thing I would say about the whole Kyrie thing, I mean, I just think it's unfortunate that, one person gets credit or blame for team's failures. I mean, we had a lot of reasons why the team did not succeed this year. And Kyrie deserves his share of the blame, but not any more than anybody else. There's a lot of guys that, didn't handle things the right way and make the sacrifices that needed to be done for the benefit of the team. And so I think that they're all going to learn from it, including Kyrie. He's still a young player, and I think that Kyrie's going to even come back better next year.
We said in an interview a couple weeks ago that you and Brad were kind of going to look at everything, and there's going to be a lot of just like tough decisions, easy decisions for you guys and tough decisions for you guys. Just how did that go, and just how kind of big is this offseason, you feel like, for you guys as a whole?
No, it's big. I mean, every offseason is big. When you change it, when you're making personnel decisions and making draft picks and free agent signings, it's always big. But there's just more of it this year, so it's bigger than a normal year.
And how did those conversations go, just with Brad, in terms of looking back at everything?
Brad and I talk every day. Things are going great.
Brad took
There's no other coach I'd rather have than Brad. He's the best.
He took a lot of the blame for sort of how the season went at the end of the year. I mean, how do you kind of assess how things went for him and sort of what his path is going forward here?
I would put Brad in the same. I think that it was a very difficult job. I knew it would be difficult from the beginning of the year, and we talked about that, but I think it was even more difficult than I anticipated and he anticipated. But again, I think he's going to be a lot better because of the year that he went through. And he's the least of our worries. We know that he is going to work to become the best he can be, and that he's going to learn from it. I wish every one of our players would put the time and effort and energy and thought into what Brad does. But like I said, there's no other coach I'd rather have than Brad Stevens.
What do you take away just from in terms of learning for just Brad, you said too, but yourself, just in terms of how things went this past season that you might use?
Yeah, I think that we all need to learn from this past year. I would say going into the season that we knew that there would be, with the success from the year before, and then trying to bring Kyrie and Gordon back into the mix, that there would be some challenges. And we all knew that going in, and but I even underestimated how long it might take, because it didn't really ever take where we had 100% buy-in from 100% of our players. And I did not anticipate that. I thought that through the course of the year, guys would figure out their roles. And also, when you go to training camp, I've been involved in a lot of training camps over my 40 years where there's questions to be answered. And you go into training camp and it becomes really clear that players just take jobs and they win their jobs, and it becomes really easy decisions. And then there's years like this year where it was harder. Like everybody played well at times and not well at times, and nobody really took the jobs that, other than Kyrie, who was a second-team All-NBA and was our best player through the course of the year. Now Horford. But I feel like it was that's why it was a difficult coaching job for Brad, because those jobs just weren't clear cut. Who's going to finish every game? Who's going to start every game? Those were much more difficult decisions.
How much do you think youth and like the focus on not just your role, but like your brand, your future contracts, where you stand in the league, how much does that type of mentality play into what you just said about their inability to take their roles?
It plays a part in it, I believe. I think how many likes they get on social media, how much money they're going to get paid. Sure. I mean, I don't think that there's ever been a player. I was a young player once too. That stuff mattered to me. How much you're going to get paid and if you're going to start or come off the bench or how many minutes, But at some point, you fight, you compete, and then, however it works out, you accept your role and you move on and you keep going. And I wish our team would have done a better job of that this year. Not that they don't want more, and they should want more. That's what makes them great, is they all think they're great players, and I think that I don't want that to change. But I didn't. I felt like Gordon and Jalen handled their positions the best this year. When things didn't go as well as they could, I thought they handled it as good as they could have.
I know he wasn't alone, but Gordon did fade in the Milwaukee series. What do you think his greatest challenge is? What do you think Kevin at that point?
I'm really excited for Gordon's upcoming season. I mean, he's working hard right now in the gym. He's here every day with 5 or 6 coaches and bodies out there working extremely hard. He's put a lot of time in, and I'm anticipating great things from Gordon this next year. I think that I don't really look at it as fading in the Milwaukee series. I look at, sometimes it's just opportunity. There's only one ball out there, and I'm not worried about Gordon Hayward. I'm not worried about his future or how good a player he is. I see he's doing everything he can. If he doesn't become the player that he wants to be, then it won't be from a lack of trying, but I'm very excited and optimistic about his future.
In terms of leadership, Kyrie, this team, with all the talk about divisiveness, they really worked hard at pulling it together. They tried. I mean, in meetings and
they tried. They tried. We rallied. I thought that we had some moments where we came together and it was going well. But in an NBA season, you're gonna have adversity. You're gonna have bad moments. You're gonna have team meetings, and you're gonna have to find that. But you got to have that resolve to do it all the time, and you got to be able to play through that adversity. And when you don't have that cohesion, it's just harder to have the resolve that you need. And I think that they all are committed to having more resolve individually as their careers go forward. I think that's one thing that they can learn.
How does this season affect, if at all, the way you view roster building?
I've learned some things from this year. Yeah, I think that it was a unique situation where we overachieved to such an extent the year before with young players, and so many expectations, not just their own expectations, but expectations of everybody. I think I learned a lot this year from how the team can respond, and it's also I think players aren't the same today as they were even 10 years ago or 15 or 20 years ago. But I learned a lot.
Final question for Danny. Wicked indicated during his radio interview that you guys discuss potential moves all the time, and at the trade deadline you would discuss whether to make a move to shake things up a little bit. Ultimately, you guys decided to stand pat, of course. Was it in your mind the idea that your best chance to win was still for everything to come together with this team right up until the end?
Yeah, there was nothing really at the trade deadline that we were that excited about. It would have been a move just to make a move and maybe shake things up a little bit, but I don't think that if there were anything significant that would have made a big difference. So I don't regret not making a move at the break, the ones that we had available.
Are there any surgeries or anything planned, minor procedures that you're aware of for the offseason?
Let me think about that real quick. Thumb surgery. But I think I can still play golf with this. I may have to wait until the golf season's over. So maybe November I'll have a cast on it. But let's see. Seriously, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
And
fairly
the
healthy.
assistant coaching opening, do you know, is there any kind of movement?
Oh yeah. Brad's been interviewing a lot of the guys. We've been talking about a lot of different names. So that's still in the
Ryan, final
mix.
question.
Just obviously you guys are in decisions on a lot of things till free agency starts. The draft.
Wait. Did you get permission to ask?
I did. I
Hayden
actually.
a
I
question?
took Chris.
Oh, so
Chris
Chris
is
is
the
the
boss. Chris is
boss.
looking at him.
Chris is the boss. Okay.
For free agency, obviously, you might not have all your answers. And the draft, obviously, is a pretty big night in terms of trading and things like that. Just balancing the risk reward for you guys in terms of, making a big deal then with someone who might have an expiring contract. Just like, how do you
I
go
don't
into
even know
play?
what deal you're talking about yet. So like
Just
if
in
this-
general.
I understand, but like it depends. There's always risk in making deals, and so we're not afraid of risk. We made a risk by trading for Kyrie, and no matter what happens with Kyrie, I'll never regret that. Just move on to the next deal.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.